the flow of divine grace, the spiritual science of Barakah. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. In our modern, peril-driven world, we measure abundance in terms of quantity. More money, more time, more possessions. But for centuries, the Sufi masters taught a far more profound and a beautiful truth. They spoke of a spiritual abundance, a divine infusion, that is not of this world, but that can transform every aspect of our lives. They called this spiritual principle Barakah. Today, we will embark on a deep and a methodical exploration of the flow of divine grace, the spiritual science of Barakah. We will go beyond the simple definition of blessing to understand Barakah as a metaphysical principle, spiritual flow of grace that originates from the divine presence. We will uncover its sources, its inner keys, and its profound impact on a person's life, from their time and their wealth to their knowledge and their relationships. This is a lecture on how to move from a life of scarcity and a spiritual anxiety to a life of profound and an enduring abundance. Part 1. Defining Barakah, a metaphysical principle. The word Barakah literally means to increase, to grow, or to be blessed. But in the Sufi lexicon, its meaning is far deeper and far more profound. Barakah is not a quantitative increase in things. It is a qualitative increase in their spiritual value. It is a divine infusion that makes a small amount of something feel like a lot, and a short amount of time feel profoundly productive and spiritually meaningful. It is a sign of Allah's pleasure, a seal of divine approval, and a direct link to the unseen. The Sufis taught that every single thing in creation has the potential for Barakah, but it is only in things and in actions that are in accordance with the divine will that this potential is realized. Barakah is a spiritual energy that is embedded in righteous deeds and good intentions, and in a heart that is in a state of constant remembrance of Allah. It is the spiritual lifeblood of a living faith, a divine current that flows from the Creator to the creation. A person can have millions of dollars, but if their wealth is devoid of Barakah, they will always feel a sense of lack and a spiritual emptiness. Conversely, a person who has very little can feel a profound sense of sufficiency and a spiritual contentment, because their life is infused with the grace of Barakah. This understanding of Barakah shifts our entire perspective on abundance. So we are no longer chasing after more, but after a deeper and a more meaningful existence. We are no longer seeking an increase in the quantity of things, but an increase in their spiritual quality. The search for Barakah is, therefore, not a search for worldly gain. It is a search for divine grace. Part 2. The sources of Barakah. Where does it flow from? The flow of Barakah originates from Allah, but it flows through specific channels in His creation. Sufis, through their deep spiritual insight, identified these channels, providing a practical roadmap for the seeker who wishes to attract this divine grace into their lives. The ultimate source of Barakah is the Quran itself. The Quran is the direct word of Allah, and it is described as a blessed book. The recitation, the study, and the contemplation of the Quran are a direct and a powerful source of Barakah. A person who spends their time with the Quran will find that their time becomes blessed, their knowledge becomes wisdom, and their heart becomes a sanctuary. The very letters of the Quran are infused with a spiritual energy that purifies the heart and attracts the grace of Allah. Another profound source of Barakah is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. His very being, his family, and his companions were all sources of this divine grace. The Sufis taught that the love of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the remembrance of his beautiful life are a direct channel for Barakah. A person who has a sincere love for the Prophet, peace be upon him, will find that their life is filled with an inner light and a profound peace that is a direct consequence of this connection. Righteous people, the Awliya saints and the scholars, are also a source of Barakah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that Allah loves the humble, pious, and righteous people. The company of these people is a source of Barakah, for their spiritual state is a direct reflection of Allah's pleasure. To sit with them, to learn from them, and to love them is to invite the divine grace into one's life. Finally, specific places and times are also imbued with Barakah. The Kaaba, the mosques, and the month of Ramadan are all places and times that are infused with this divine grace. The Sufi masters taught that to be in these places and to honor these times is to place oneself in the direct flow of Barakah. The fasting of Ramadan is not just an act of abstention. It is a spiritual practice that is designed to prepare the heart to receive the profound and the beautiful grace of Barakah. Part 3. The inner keys to attracting Barakah. The sources of Barakah are external, but the keys to unlocking it are internal. The Sufis taught that a person's inner state is the primary determinant of whether or not they will receive this divine grace. The heart must be a clean and a pure vessel to receive the flow of Barakah. The first and the most important key is Taqwa, or God consciousness. Taqwa is the state of a heart that is constantly aware of Allah's presence. It is a spiritual shield that protects the heart from sin and a spiritual magnet that attracts the grace of Allah. The Quran states, "And whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out and will provide for him from where he does not expect." This verse is a direct promise that a life of taqwa is a life that is filled with barakah. The second key is shukr, or gratitude. The Quran states, "If you are grateful, I will surely increase you." This verse reveals a profound and a beautiful spiritual law. Gratitude is the key that multiplies a blessing. A person who is grateful for what they have, no matter how small, will find that their life is filled with a sense of profound and a beautiful abundance. Gratitude is not a passive response to a blessing. It is an active and a spiritual practice that is designed to keep the heart in a state of contentment and peace. The third key is sincerity, or ikhlas. Ikhlas is the state of a heart that performs an act solely for the sake of Allah. Barakah is a spiritual grace that is rooted in the purity of intention. An act that is done for the sake of Allah alone, no matter how small, is infused with a divine grace that gives it a profound and a beautiful spiritual weight. A person who is sincere in their intentions will find that their efforts, no matter how small, bear a fruit that is far greater than their actions. The fourth key is qana, or contentment. A person who is consumed by greed and a desire for more will never feel the presence of barakah. Barakah is a spiritual grace that is felt in the heart. A person who has a profound sense of contentment with what they have will find that their life is filled with a sense of profound and an enduring abundance. For their heart is not seeking more from the temporal world, but is seeking a deeper connection with Allah. Part 4. The fruits of Barakah, the transformation of life. The presence of Barakah in a person's life is not an abstract concept. It is a profound and a tangible reality that can be seen in its fruits. Barakah has the power to transform every aspect of a person's life, from their time and their wealth to their knowledge and their relationships. Barakah in Waqt time is a profound and a beautiful experience. A person whose time is blessed will find that a short amount of time, a few minutes or a few hours, can become profoundly productive and spiritually meaningful. They can accomplish more in a short amount of time than a person whose time is devoid of barakah can accomplish in a day. The Sufis taught that the mastery of Waqt time is not a matter of efficiency. It is a matter of attracting the grace of barakah. Barakah in wealth is a profound and a beautiful experience. A person whose wealth is blessed will find that a small amount of wealth is sufficient and brings a sense of profound peace and a spiritual contentment. Their wealth is not a source of anxiety, but a source of grace and a spiritual growth. A person whose wealth is devoid of barakah will find that no matter how much they have, they will always feel a sense of lack and a spiritual emptiness. Barakah in knowledge, or ilm, is a profound and a beautiful experience. A person whose knowledge is blessed will find that their knowledge becomes wisdom, leading to a profound spiritual insight and a growth rather than just an intellectual accumulation. A small amount of knowledge, when it is infused with barakah, can become a source of profound spiritual guidance. A person whose knowledge is devoid of barakah will find that no matter how much they have, their knowledge will be a source of arrogance and a spiritual darkness. Barakah in health and family is a profound and a beautiful experience. A person whose health is blessed will find that their health is robust, and their body is a source of spiritual strength. A person whose family life is blessed will find that their relationships are filled with a profound and an enduring love, and a peace that is a direct consequence of the divine grace. Part 5. Barakah is a sign of a living faith. The presence or the absence of barakah in a person's life is a powerful and a profound sign of the state of their faith. A life that is filled with barakah is a life that is in a state of spiritual harmony. A life that is in a direct and an intimate connection with Allah. It is a sign of a living faith. A faith that is not just a set of beliefs, but a profound and a beautiful reality. Conversely, a life that is devoid of barakah, a life that is filled with spiritual anxiety, chaos, and a sense of lack despite all of its worldly abundance, is a sign of a spiritual disconnection. It is a sign that a person's heart is not in a state of peace and a contentment, and that their life is not in a state of spiritual harmony. This is a profound and a spiritual wake-up call. A divine mercy that is designed to make a person aware of their spiritual state and to turn back to their Creator. The Sufi masters taught that the search for barakah is not a search for an external blessing. It is a search for an internal state. It is a search for a heart that is filled with Taqwa Shukr and a profound and an enduring love for Allah. The flow of divine grace is a constant and a beautiful reality, but its door is always open to every single human being who is willing to turn their heart towards its source. The spiritual science of barakah is the art of opening that door and of allowing the divine grace to flow into every single aspect of one's life.